Welcome to the Employee Advocacy Unleashed. My name is Serge, and I'm the Director of Influencer Marketing with Augeo and Brand Networks. We are AI-driven social technologies company. We're trying to empower advocacy all over the place, all within the context of a global audience. And we really love talking about engagement and what that looks like. And today on this particular webinar, we're going to be unpacking all kinds of things around social activation. So I brought in two of my favorite friends, experts in the field, Jeff Zilberman and Alexis Witorsky. I know one of the biggest conversations with webinars is always, don't just make it a sales pitch. So listen, if you're already on going, hold on, I'm concerned that this is going to be a sales pitch. That's not what we're about. We actually want to give you tools in your hands to be able to walk away today with some things that would help you move your brand further, maybe move your own personal brand or your company's brand, or even answer some of those questions around what genuine connection can look like through authenticity and advocacy all across the board. So with that, I think I really want to throw the conversation immediately to you, Jeff. And let's talk a little bit about authenticity, what that can look like for a brand or an individual.
The world of social is changing. The most valuable currency for brands is really building that trust. There's no better way to do that with authentic, relatable content. So some of the brands that we see that are doing it the best are really leaning in. They're making it a part of their culture, a part of their marketing mix, and getting incredible results, whether it's improving affinity, it's driving awareness and share of voice across social. It's ultimately moving people through the funnel with consideration in sales. And then most importantly, they're building a community, right? They're inspiring that next generation of brand advocates by really leaning into that authenticity.
And it's refreshing, right? People crave authentic, genuine connections. And the same is true for consumers when it comes to the brands that they choose to engage with. Today's consumers are increasingly skeptical of traditional marketing tactics, which don't really speak to them because traditional marketing can be very restrictive and not authentic. And that's why advocacy really resonates with consumers across all industries like automotive, technology, financial services, telecommunications, retail, you name it. Advocacy resonates in these spaces because it's authentic and it's a way for organizations to meet people where they are.
I love that. I'm already thinking about examples, and I want to make sure that we talk through some real world examples that we're seeing in real time. But the last statistic that I want to make sure I throw out there in that conversation is the reality that 80% of individuals, when they create content, definitely when they're empowered by the brand, are going to create just a better connection with their people than the actual brand. So to put that into context, that means if a brand actually were to create a piece of content on their own personal page, their personal page, their brand page, it will create some traction. But if an individual, an employee, posts the same piece of content, they're going to receive an 8 times higher engagement to their content because individuals, their family, their friends follow them. They know that they're actually honest, sincere, passionate about whatever it is because they know what they do for a living or how they're connected. And so those engagements continue to go up with influencers, but specifically within the context of employees that are advocating for their brand, which is exciting. And I love being able to throw that out there any chance we get, because that's the conversation that we continue to have right now.
As people want to see content from their friends and family that's just raw and authentic and unscripted, and not these highly polished pieces of content that's coming, from a creative shop or from the top down. So love that you threw out that stat. It really just kind of emphasizes the power of brand advocacy.
Let's keep that conversation going. So when you're talking about what that can look like for an individual to be empowered, I mean, that is the conversation today. What does that look like in the context of, work and work culture for an individual to communicate different things about advocacy for their brand?
I think it really starts with integrating a company, integrating it as part of the culture, whether it's their workplace, their marketing, or HR, really leaning in and enabling that. I saw a great stat recently that 50% of people are already talking about work on their personal social handles, but they're doing it on their own because it's such a big part of their lives. They're loyal, they care, they're passionate, and they want to do it. So having a company culture that really leans in and embraces that and encourages that can be so powerful.
Yes, retweet. In so many ways, employee advocacy is the pinnacle of workplace engagement. People really want to feel seen, heard, and valued, especially in the workplace. And really, by integrating advocacy into your culture, you're signaling to your employees that they have a seat at the table in shaping your story and helping to share the story with your audience, which is so empowering.
What are the things that resonate, in your opinion, the stuff that you've seen, the clients that we happen to work with? What are things that work well, you think?
I think it's making it a seamless experience, right? Like when we start talking, we're so fortunate. We work with, with some of the most respected and largest enterprises in the world, and they're leaning in and they want to enable their employees, but they don't know where to start. And I think the biggest piece and kind of what we see is like they're doing it somewhat homegrown manually. They're using Google Docs to kind of ad hoc let their employees share something on their personal handles that's scripted or templated, but there's no way to measure it. There's no way to do it in a unified fashion. I think they have the most important piece down of just embracing that culture, but what we really want them to lean in on is making it a good experience for their employees. When you're looking at brands that have hundreds of thousands, sometimes even over 1 million employees, how do you make it a seamless and enjoyable experience for them? That's really of leveraging a centralized platform, right? A platform that's going to enable you to seamlessly scale, to organize, optimize it, and do it in a brand safe and unified way.
My favorite content is when the individual creates content that's not necessarily the target, the specific thing being called out. So, as you were sitting there talking about being authentic and making sure that they're connecting in a way that is homegrown, I think is the term that you specifically used. When I think about work culture, or when I think about hiring, as you just mentioned, a lot of the clients that we work with talk about hiring and they'll want to make that specific post. Like, here's what we're looking for. Everybody put out, we're hiring. But the content that really flies is the individual who talks about what their favorite parts of the company is. So when they say, this is what I love doing, or here, follow me today as I go through 30 seconds of my day at work, all of a sudden that content resonates with individuals and it feels very, again, to your point, homegrown and authentic. And then all of a sudden people are going, I want to know more about this brand. I want to know more about this company. And all in the context of it, you didn't have to worry about making this piece of content that had to fit some specific paradigm that you think in your mind has to be, but instead just your authentic self, and bringing your authentic self up to the forefront, especially with the guardrails that you just mentioned, all of a sudden creates dynamite impact. In fact,
No,
there's a statistic out right now that says that this will actually translate into revenue as well. That when you start communicating and talking about, again, the brand, but in the way that impacts you, they're saying, hey, I'm passionate about this product because it does XYZ for me at home. There's a statistic that says that the revenue will increase 23% when the individual shares what that looks like across their platforms, again, versus the actual brand. So the brand posts an image of a product that they want to sell, and then the individual that represents the brand posts that same image. They're going to see a 23% increase in revenue from that individual's post and the brand's post. And that's something that probably companies, brands need to be paying attention to. What do you think about that?
it's enabling them to have that kind of real authenticity, staying in line with those brand values and doing it in a unified way. And that's exactly the power of what we're trying to build here.
What are some of the authentic things that you're seeing within the brands and clients that I know you work with? Because I know you have some incredible clients that you're helping support and promoting. What are some of those authentic things that you've seen just catch fire that we're allowed to share and talk about?
I think that going off of the culture posts and hiring posts, it's a unique way that really resonates with the audience. I mean, I think for me personally, when I'm scrolling through LinkedIn and there's so much noise on there of like professionally curated content, and then I see something that's super authentic, I am more inclined to sit there and watch a video about it, whether it's a day in the life of this, and then better understand the company and the program afterwards, because now I'm engaged, now I'm intrigued. I like the people that are working there and I want to find out more. I think that with some of our clients, when we give them super scripted stuff to talk about, they're less inclined to participate in those projects, and they're more inclined to participate in the projects where they can just do their own thing, because that is what they're currently doing. We're just giving them a platform to do that on in a brand safe way. And it comes out naturally for them. Everyone's going to find their own unique voice online, and to give them the tools to help with that really shines through. And that's when you see like posts go viral and, higher engagements and all that, because it is more authentic authentic because you're catering to their social following and what they're used to posting about already, but then interjecting some business objectives into there as well.
So if brands now, let's just assume they now know that empowering their people is going to be the most effective way to move their brand forward, move it to the next level, then the next question is, how do you impact your people in a way that get them excited about it? Because everyone knows those individuals that they work with, that they're like, I don't really want to talk about the brand. I don't really, it's my job, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever the hours are. I don't really want to do it on my spare time as well. And I know some of the things that we've done specifically is focused on gamification and what that can look like to help maximize impact specifically for the individual to engage in the content. So a brand puts together these ideas and says, here are some specific projects or topics we would love for you to talk about. And then we're going to incentivize that with some gamification. So can you unpack that a little bit for me and what that can look like for any potential client, or for that matter, any potential brand that wants to impact or power their people?
I think it's such a powerful strategy, right? Like we talked about making it a seamless experience, but it has to be fun, right? It has to be engaging and they want to be able to participate. So that gamification is really a core pillar of the most successful programs that we see. They tap into the just competitive nature that we all have as employees, right? In a fun, friendly way. We've seen some of the best platforms have the kind of following elements. Like one is just a leaderboard to see where you stack, where you rank up against your peers. Serge, you're currently #1 at Brand Networks, and it's always a point of conversation internally, and we're all itching to get you off that top rank, but it creates that fun, engaging content. We also see a lot of great platforms create challenges, right? So having different milestones that you can hit to continue your path in brand advocacy in the program and share your accomplishments, and then finally getting rewarded and recognized for what you're doing. Like the advocates that are most successful are the ones that are doing it organically because they're truly passionate and want to, but we want to make sure they're recognized across the company and get more opportunities as well as rewarded, whether that's different experiences or monetary, whatever it is. Being able to get something from your company to really show that they appreciate your effort is going to continue to motivate you and drive that real, authentic participation.
Yeah, I'm glad that you specifically called out, those different aspects. The leaderboard's great. And the challenges are, to me, what's exciting when there's a challenge for me to go after, and even some of those rewards, whether that sometimes we pass out, some swag based on the different challenges that we put out. So whoever crushes this challenge maybe gets a company hat or a company sticker, or recently I got a little cooler. Like it was pretty sweet. And so like that's just internally some of the things that we've done. But I'll be completely honest, those things are fun and it's always cool to get swag in the mail. But the recognition that comes from connecting on these different pieces, these different projects, this different advocacy track that we've gone down is really where it hits home for me, because all of a sudden now I feel valued, I feel appreciated. My name or face may be known to someone in the leadership ranking that maybe not wouldn't have happened otherwise. And so it gives me an opportunity, no matter how big the company is. And candidly, before I worked here with Brand Networks, I was at an even larger company. I mean, the largest company in the world. And I was able to get my face out there because of just what we're talking about, the recognition of some of the brand advocacy tools that we were utilizing internally. All of a sudden put me in a position where I'm literally doing jumping jacks with the CEO of the largest company in the world, all because of this peer-to-peer recognition where people started going, oh, I know that guy. And to this day, that still happens. I can't go into a specific retailer without someone saying, hey, I know you, because of that environment that we created of recognition around brand advocacy. And so I'm passionate about it in particular, and I'm talking a lot about me right here, but I see that empower other people. And in fact, you say I'm #1. I think right this second, I may have gotten a notification for somebody that they beat me out this week. So I'm really interested to get off the call and check, because I haven't seen that yet, but I'm getting a call right now about that. So I'm assuming they're really live here in the webinar.
I hope I'm #1 after I beat you. That's been my goal for like 4 weeks now. But no, I love that. I love what you guys are saying. I would also add that, group influence and role models play a significant role in driving active participation. So just like peer-to-peer recognition programs, when your employees see peers and leaders actively participating and engaging in advocacy initiatives, that social proof factor really kicks in, which makes them more likely to perceive advocacy as a normative behavior within your organization and company culture. So it's the norm versus, this is something different and outside of what we currently do. What's great is that all of this unfolds in a really organic way, leveraging a centralized advocacy platform that brings your people together for a common purpose, right? It's that sense of community, it's that sense of being part of something bigger. And I want to be cognizant of time. So to wrap up this section, I would say the final piece of the puzzle is driving and sustaining program engagement through personalization. This is where data-rich user profiles within your advocacy platform really shine. And by enabling your employees to self-report on the types of content they're most passionate about and promoting on your behalf, you're better equipped to serve up personalized content briefs, challenges, recommendations, opportunities, feedback, etc., and give them that really personalized experience to help with their participation.
I think I'm aligned with you in that when I create content, and again, I'm talking about me because I just want to give you what I'm passionate about. I'm doing this. And what I love about it is the fact that in real time, I'm able to track my performance in the tool that we utilize. But I think everyone, again, you might be incentivized by the rewards, by the recognition, but the thing that helps you move forward, and this is true, or we wouldn't be doing evaluations as companies, right? We wouldn't continue to do performance metrics with our individuals. Well, we're doing that in real time as well within our social media side of things. So being able to track, the key metrics, how many people are actually viewing my content or connecting and engaging with my content? How is that moving forward the brand in a way that helps create results as well? And so obviously in real time for us, as I create content around Augeo and brand networks, we're able to see immediate customer feedback because individuals are creating, they're actually asking questions in my comments of posts, or they're immediately seeing social media engagement in that another brand will pick up on it, or another colleague from another company that we work with will connect with it. When we're a brand, we're just casting one line. But when we're individuals and employees start casting out that, it's a net that's going to have an opportunity to catch far more fish. And I think that's something that I think should connect with anyone that's listening today on the webinar.
All right, shifting our focus to our last topic here, driving customer acquisition and retention through employee advocacy. So at its core, the thing that makes advocacy so compelling is that it's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for your employees who are empowered to share their voices in a meaningful way. It's a win for your audience who is inspired to engage with your brand in a more authentic way. And it's a win for your business because advocacy builds genuine connections with your audience. So because we're inspiring increased conversions through the power of authenticity, the advocacy also strengthens customer relationships. There was a study by Influitive that reveals on average, companies with robust advocacy programs double their customer retention rates, which is crazy because that's a huge win right there. To double your customer retention rates through an advocacy program, what company does not want that?
It's helping humanize your brand. Like I love the examples you mentioned in the last section, Serge, but being able to cast that wide net, but then also have that immediate customer response and one-to-one engagement. It's humanizing your brand in a level that hasn't been done before, and just shows how powerful that is with customer retention.
And the fact that we're able to continue to move that conversation into scale, right? Probably every company has that one individual that's out there doing their thing and making things happen. But to be able to empower a brand to do it at scale, that how do we do this across the board with a lot of individuals? I think it's going to be the real keys to the kingdom, if you will, to help move that forward. Today, the conversations, we wanted to make sure that we hit on all 3 points that you may be tuned in for. And so there's some lightning round things that I know I want to address and talk through. What are some of those things that you see? Give me a real world example right now as we're closing down this thing of how we're seeing this in action. Where can we, I don't know if we can call out specifically a brand, but where is it? What's a creative thing that a brand's doing to empower their people and they're seeing the results because of it?
I think creatively, we have one client that really plays on social trends that are going on. Their creators are awesome at jumping on social trends, but tying in business objectives as well. So again, it's authentic, but it's adhering to what's trending right now and what people are seeing already in their feed. So I think that empowering them with a platform that allows them to quickly jump on a trend and connect it to a business, but then also see actual results driven by it is super exciting for me.
I'll add one more client example. We have another customer. It's a large kind of global retailer, and they're really using this program to share how they're involved and kind of contributing to their community. They have thousands of locations across the US. Every single one is unique, and every community that they serve is different. And they're really using this program and social channels to be able to tell those unique stories and show how they give back and are truly helping add value and support their local communities. When we give really kind of templated or scripted projects, the employees don't necessarily engage or participate as much, but when you give that kind of high level idea, but then lean in on their creativity and give them autonomy to kind of define that project in their own way, that's where we see the best results and the highest participation. That's just so powerful. I love that you mentioned that, Alexis.
I was actually going to play off something that you said earlier about having a centralized platform to streamline your efforts. I think that this is so important because, like you said earlier, 50% of employees are already talking about your brand on their social media pages. So, like, if you can harness that and you can give them a platform to amplify that and give them those talking points, and not be super scripted, but give them ideas that, they want to participate in, and then having that one platform that allows you to optimize, organize, and scale is just going to really, really benefit your brand and your program and really drive business results.
We didn't really touch on this, but as you were saying, you were talking about your point just now, both of you, it made me remember one of our clients right now is utilizing the platform specifically for internal library creation. And I think that's one of the most creative things I've seen so far, where your people, I promise, are more creative than probably sometimes we give them credit for. And it's the same adage that's always been. Two heads are better than one. Three heads are better than two. And think about it. You have 100 employees, 1,000 employees are better than 10. And so this idea that if you throw out an idea, you might be able, a concept, a project, a priority for them to think about, they're going to be able to come up with some content that maybe you haven't even thought through, that you can pay the best agency, and that even that agency might not have even come up with it. And so I love right now one of the use cases that's happening where they're doing it internally. It's not even something they're sharing publicly to the social pages. They're just creating a space where they can collect a bunch of pictures, video, content around employee engagement, like stuff the employees are doing, the stuff that they're doing in the community when they volunteer or they serve. They're even just ideas or examples about how they can make the company better. And they're using one of the tools that we utilize in Brand Advocate to make that happen. Like that came to mind just now with one of the clients that I just thought was so incredible. And they're seeing such high value out of it that I wanted to make sure that I threw that into this piece of it. But again, I need to probably wrap it up. So I wanted to say thank you so much, both to Alexis and Jeff today, for hopping on. I want to make sure that we tell you that keep your eye on the inbox. If you signed up for this webinar and you're attending it live, your inbox is going to be filled very soon with a complimentary employee advocacy guide. So it's a PDF document that's going to help walk you through some of the things that we talked about today and so much more. If you're listening to this after the live, then make sure that you hit us into the comments or make sure that you shoot us an email at info@bn.co, and we'll make sure that we get some of the same content to you as well. So thank you so much. Last second hellos or goodbyes, Jeff, Alexis.
Thank you so much, Serge, Alexis. Thank you to the audience. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for attending today and giving us your time. We know it's the most coveted piece of your resources, and so we're thankful you spent it with us. So until the next time, we cannot wait to see you. Go out there and start thinking about how you can unleash your employees to create some great advocacy for you and your brand.